Hey guys, so I've allowed Liz to come in front of the camera due to popular demand. People actually want to see you.
Well, they want the big guns back. They want someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
That's probably true. We're going to do our prediction for World's Strongest Man. I'm going to go through each group and predict who we think will get through each group. So we're not going to do a finals prediction. We're just going to do prediction for the groups.
We are going to do a finals prediction, though,
of course, but we don't know who's in the final yet.
No, that's fine.
Okay, Auntie Liz.
Oh, God, don't call me that.
I saw someone call you that the other day, so it's sticking. Group number 1, we have Luke Richardson, Robert Oberst, Gabriel Penner, Paro Dwyer, and Jerry Pritchett. What do you think of this group?
I don't think I should say what I really think. No. Okay, so I think heavy seeding for Luke Richardson. I mean, on paper, these names are good, but it's very much going to depend on the type of shape that Jerry Pritchett is in, because we know Jerry can be amazing, but we also know, bless him, just like you, Jerry can fall apart too.
Yeah.
On the assumption that Jerry's in good form, I would put him as second place.
Second place to Luke?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have Luke win in that group with Jerry second. I think if it comes down to a stone battle, well, we know it comes down to a stone battle, who would he be up against? Who do you think?
I think this is a really hard group to predict.
I think so
I've
too.
heard great things about Gabriel Penner. I know Robert Oberst has some great events in the final.
Yeah.
I'm not so convinced about some of the events in the heats.
No.
Although saying that, Robert is a good stone lifter, and I feel
What's his squat like?
his squat is much better for Robert than a deadlift.
Okay.
So I think he'll be hoping that he gets a squat in that
Right.
group. If he gets a squat and say a log, that will be a good group for Robert.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good enough stone lifter to get to the final. That being said, Jerry, it comes down to what shape Jerry's in and how motivated he is. Jerry's a great strongman.
Yeah.
And on certain days, he's unbelievable. Other days, he just doesn't seem to perform, or, like we said, he picks up injuries. But I've heard great things about Gabriel Penner as well. A lot of people bigging this guy up, and I've watched a few of his recent videos that he's been putting out. He looks confident. He feels he's got a great chance. He's a great stone lifter, apparently.
Yeah, see, it frustrates me that that's what it boils down to, because it doesn't matter if Jerry beats Rob in the groups. If he's second overall, he has to go against him in stones. But we do know that Jerry's a fighter. Do you remember 2015 Malaysia getting through to the finals?
Yeah.
He basically had a leg hanging off, but he would not give up. He got through to the final. I think he had to withdraw after an event or two because he absolutely destroyed himself doing it. But Jerry won't give up.
No, he won't.
It's going to be exciting. I
think it's a good group. I think like you said, I think Luke Richardson he's just progressed so quickly.
Yeah.
He's such a good talent. Without question, someone that needs to be in a discussion about being a future World's Strongest Man. I don't see him winning World's Strongest Man this year, but you never know. But he is improving at a rapid pace.
It feels like he's got quite a smooth path towards it. He might end up in better shape than a lot of the other guys when it comes to the final.
Looking at the groups, I mean, it's a tough group, but I by no means think it's the toughest.
Oh, God, no.
It's particularly for a first-timer there.
You look at it and it's a tough group until you start looking at the groups lower down.
Sure.
Then suddenly it's not so tough.
So who are you going to go for then in Group 1?
I'm going to say Luke and Jerry.
Okay.
What are you going to say?
I'm going to say Luke and Oberst.
Oh, controversial.
Just because I think Rob's a better stone lifter.
Yeah.
And I think it'll, and like I said, I think Gabriel will surprise people too. He could be in that contention. It's by no means a given in that group. I think Luke will win. Luke is a very good squatter and very good deadlifter. His pressings come on lots. He's improving all the time, and he's good at stones as well. Actually, I've seen him training them.
One thing we should make clear, and sorry to interrupt you, only second and third place in the group get to do the stone off. So first place automatically qualify. Number 2 and 3 have to do a stone until one fails.
It's a really important kind of factor as well, because if you kind of get through the group only doing 4 events, you're going to save a lot more energy than whoever comes through from a stone battle.
Yeah.
And we've seen already over the last few years, some of these battles can go on for ages. And the potential head-to-heads we could line up, you do not want to be getting in doing the stones head-to-head, because, I mean, you look when Belsac went against, that was a time when you had more than one person head-to-head, but he went and did 20 reps on a 160 kilo stone. And the guys are getting bigger and stronger every year. I believe the stone is going to be heavier than in the past, But there's so many great stone lifters. If they've just got to keep putting that thing over and over again, if you've ever done any exercise where you push to the limit for reps, it is so much more draining than doing a 1 rep max.
Yeah, of course.
You know, if you've ever pushed a deadlift for reps, for as many reps as possible, it can screw you up for the whole competition. And this is the issue I have with this event. I think as a fan, it's exciting, but as an athlete, it heavily, heavily favours the person that gets through in first place.
Event. I don't even think a lot of fans find it exciting. I think a lot of them find it frustrating.
I've always said, I think if it came down to like a head-to-head in the final, say someone was tied in points,
that would be exciting.
I think it would be an exciting way to finish a contest. Yeah. But I agree, I don't think
as a qualifier, I don't like it. I never have, never will.
Anyway, so we're split on that one. Luke and Jerry for you, Luke and Robert Oberst for me, and you guys let us know who you think will get through Group 1. Group number 2, Adam Bishop, Evan Singleton, Mikhail Shivlikov, Kevin Ferris, and Mark Felix.
That's an interesting group, especially if, like you say, they change the truck pull to a grip endurance event like the Farmers for Distance. That's really interesting.
If they do a Farmers for Distance instead of a truck pull in this group, suddenly Mark and Kevin
I think they're in the stone off.
They become very, very dangerous. Kevin has an excellent grip. He's excellent at farmers walks. Mark, we all know how strong his grip is. I can't see any of the big names in that group. I mean, we would assume that Evan and Adam are the two kind of seeds.
Are we working on an assumption that Adam Bishop's going to win the group?
I don't ever work on assumptions, and I don't see that as a guarantee with this group.
No,
and that's nothing. Adam's a great athlete, but so is Evan, so is Mikhail Shivlikov. I don't see one guy in this group that's head and shoulders above anyone else.
No,
you know, sometimes when you get a Thor in your group, you kind of expect that he's going to win, or as a Adrinas.
Yeah, of course.
But this is quite an even group, and it can really come down to events. Like Mark Felix with the wrong set of events, he can be very, very mediocre. With the right set of events, and I talk about this a lot, Mark is an incredible strongman. You put grip in there, you put deadlift for reps in there. I mean, if this is a deadlift group...
Which it will be. They're not going to give Mark Felix a squat.
Everyone in that group is a 400 kilo deadlifter.
Yeah.
You know, has Shivlikov recovered from his Masters world record? That's an important question.
You never know what shape he's going to turn up in. I always assume he's broken because he always breaks himself at competition, but he doesn't give up. It's just... That's
the thing, it doesn't matter if he is broken.
No,
he still turns up
it won't make a difference. I'd love to see him in perfect peak condition. I don't know if we have. I just don't know.
It's a real interesting group because you look at overhead, I'd say Evan and Mikhail are the best overhead lifters in that group. You look at deadlifts, I would say Bish and Felix are the best deadlifters in that group. But Shivlikov is a great deadlifter. And Kevin and Evan are both solid deadlifters. We're talking of 400 kilo deadlifters here.
I think Evan did 400 kilos for a double, didn't he?
He's been getting stronger and stronger. But I know how good Adam Bishop is at a deadlift. Of course. You know, Adam is one of the best deadlifters on the planet right now. And I actually think if he gets to the final, the 18-inch deadlift for him is an unbelievable event. He's done well into the 500 kilo marks on the 18-inch pull.
Yeah.
Felix also on an 18-inch pull is awesome. So I'm going to guess that this is going to be a deadlift group with how stacked it is.
Okay.
If there's a farmer's walk for distance, I think that could be an issue for Adam.
Yeah, it could be an issue for Adam. Which then puts Adam potentially into a position where he has to do the stone off as well. And how's Adam going to fare in that? He's
a good stone lifter. And again, this group is a very even keel group. It's not... You know, when you look at a group and you see a Tom Stoltman or a Trey Mitchell, they're great stone lifters.
Yeah.
These are all good, solid stone lifters. Yeah. There's no one in this group that you think...
No, there's no standout, is there?
No. I mean, Mark Felix on stones on his day, very, very good. But he has inconsistent performances as well. Adam Bishop, good performer. Evan Singleton, good performer. Shivlikov, probably not the best stone lifter in that group.
No.
You know, and Kevin is a decent stone lifter as well. Again, this is a real tough group to pick.
So who do we think wins the group?
Do you know what?
It could be anyone.
I hate to say this, but I'm going to go with Evan Singleton and Mark Felix to make the final.
Are you? That's so interesting. But that's on an assumption that the truck pull is out.
Yes.
And a grip event is in.
But even then, I don't see any of these as incredible truck pullers either.
Do you know
good, steady, athletes. And that's what makes someone like Adam so good. I mean, Adam, I don't mean to be putting him down by saying I don't think it will make. I'm picking Ervin and Mark in this group. Normally I'd pick Adam because Adam is a very consistent performer.
And Adam won the stone off last year when he did it.
He did, I believe. And Adam is very well prepared, but I think all these changes won't help Adam.
No.
I think they'll help someone more like Mark Felix, who's a bit more laid back, more experienced. And I mean, Adam is experienced, but he's meticulous with prep. He needs to know all the events. He needs to prepare as well as possible. Felix is just like, yeah, I turn up, I lift this, I've got a strong grip.
Why we love him.
And he just looks so much more relaxed these days.
Yeah, he does.
I don't think all the changes will affect someone like Mark as maybe... I mean, Evan's first World's Strongest Man. He might be affected by it. He's... As much as I love him, he's hot-headed, He likes to put a show on for the crowd. There is no crowd this time.
No.
Could affect him.
Yeah, he might find that difficult.
But I do think we're going to see...
Mark Felix, he's just going to be at the hotel now having some tea. He's not going to care.
Do you know what?
I think Mikhail Shivlikov wins the group.
Really?
And I think Adam ends up in a stone battle with someone, I don't know who, but I think Adam just gives it his absolute everything and qualifies on the last man standing stones.
Excellent. Let us know your thoughts, guys. Who do you think is getting through Group 2?
So you think Evan Singleton wins, Mark Felix wins the last man standing? That's like totally different. That's exciting.
It's a fun group.
It is a fun group.
I could see Adam.
Not fun to be in.
No. I could honestly see any two of these guys making the final, which makes it a really interesting, fun group. There's no real standout in that group for me. There's just 5 excellent strongmen.
Yeah.
So group number 3. You want to read this one?
Okay, so we've got Tom Stoltman. No. Oh no, I don't want to read this one. I can't pronounce that name. Aivers.
I think it's Aivers. I think it's pronounced Aivers. Semastelis.
Him. I'm sorry. Trey Mitchell, Gav Bilton, and Maxime Boudreau.
Yeah, so originally Oleksii Novikov was in this group.
Yeah.
They have switched it around now, so Aivers is in the group. Aivers. Please correct us if anyone knows properly. He's a great athlete, actually. He's a very good all-round athlete. He's done very, very well in the Champions League. Quite a laid-back character. He's been to Worlds before. He's got experience. So, a dangerous athlete for anyone.
See, to me, this is one of the more simple groups.
Really? I don't know.
Do you not think so?
I think Maxime Boudreau is an excellent strongman. From what I've seen of him, from what I've heard, he is legitimately world class. You've got Trey Mitchell in this group.
See, I think Tom's a clear winner of this group. I think squat or deadlift. What do you think they'll have though? Do you think
this is the big question? Is
frustrating not knowing.
It's very, very difficult to pick. It comes down, as always, to events.
See, I would work on some big assumptions. Assumption 1, Tom Stoltman wins the group. Assumption 2, Trey Mitchell and Maxime are in the last man standing and Trey wins it.
See, the interesting thing for me is you've got 2 exceptional stone lifters in this group.
Tom Stoltman being one of them. But I think he'll win the group. So
I agree, but I think Tom has that backup.
Yeah.
I believe Tom is the best stone lifter in the world. And I think Trey is an excellent stone lifter. But I've competed against them both at stones, and I've beaten Trey at stones before. Granted, that was a run, so it was about speed. But I've never even come close to beating Tom at stones.
No.
For me, I've never seen... Maybe Thor when he was a bit younger, and Brian Shaw as well when he's, You see a lot of the younger guys, when they're superstars like Brian and Thor, they were excellent stone lifters. They got to like the crown of King of the Stones.
Yeah.
And then they just focused on other things.
Yeah.
Whereas Tom has just focused on those stones and took it to another level. And I believe now he's the best stone lifter on the planet.
I would agree.
I don't see many people that can lift a stone the way he does.
No.
He treats 200 kilo stones the way most of us would treat a 120 kilo stone.
Yeah.
He really does. He's got such long arms, such a strong back, and it doesn't take too much out of him. I even think him against Trey, I think Tom comes out on top. The only problem with those two going head to head
could go on for a while.
Yeah. And whoever gets to the final again is going to be in trouble. So for me, Tom needs to win the group.
Yeah.
I think if he's going to go on and really push like we know he can.
For the title, if he wants a chance of winning the overall, he should win the group. But the same would be said for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Tom does win that group.
I think Group 3, Tom is the winner, and I think a real battle between Maxime and Trey for second place.
Yeah, I would agree. No offence to Gav Bilton, I know he's
and
Ivor.
I think Gav's going to really enjoy the opportunity to compete at Worlds. I don't think he expected to get there this year.
No.
And he's making such incredible progress, and I think it's going to do him a world of good. Get that experience, go away and believe, you're not that far behind those guys. Work a bit harder over the next year, and I think he'll be a real contender. He's a huge man. Really is a monster of a man, and he's definitely capable of some surprises, but I don't think he's complete enough yet to challenge those bigger names. That being said,
we could be talking out of our arse.
Well, like
you never know.
With World's Strongest Man, when you're looking at the heats, you could get to the final with just 4 events, and like I've said before, 4 events. It's easy if you get the right set of events. You can look really, really good. It's why I like a more varied spread of events to really decide the best in the world, because I think with 4 events I could set up a competition and beat anyone in the world at, and obviously these guys aren't setting up this competition.
No.
But with the right set of events we're all really good athletes. It's over 8 or 10 events where the exceptional guys show why they are the absolute greats, because they can do well consistently across the board.
As they say, cream rises to the top.
That's it. So for me, I'm going to pick Tom Stoltman to win. And I think it's going to be a real tough battle between Trey and Maxime. And I think Trey, with his stone ability, comes out for second place.
So in a really long roundabout way, you said the exact same thing that I just said.
Well, I've got to agree with you sometimes. Right, group number 4. My favourite, JF Caron.
You've got a real thing for JF lately. What's going on?
I've just known JF a long time. We've been competing for a long time together. We're good friends. And I feel he's probably the most underrated strongman there is.
And you know everything about
I know what it's like to be an underrated strongman. So I like to try and push him up there. Probably, to be honest, he probably doesn't like the fact that I do it. I think he likes being the underdog.
He does.
Just kind of going under the radar and then surprising people. But he's such a good strongman, and I'm picking him to win this group. But there's a lot of good athletes, including another one of my favourites, Graham Hicks, who I actually think when it comes to static strength is one of the absolute strongest men on the planet. And I think the groups are going to be harder for him than the final. I think if Graham gets to the final, he's got a great chance of doing really well. The thing with the groups, like we said, 4 events, if they put a farmers for distance in there, even a truck pull, they're 2 notoriously weaker events for him. He wants a squat, because at a squat I can't see anyone touching him.
No.
Deadlift, there's good deadlifters. JF Caron is a better deadlifter than Graham, but Graham I think would still be up there on a deadlift.
Yeah.
Against
But really, I'm assuming he wants to win that group, because stones, I think that would be a tricky one for Graham.
I mean, Ervin Toots is in this group. He's so we've got JF Caron, Graham Hicks, Ervin Toots, Ethor Melstead from Iceland, and Bobby Thompson.
Hearing a lot of great things about Bobby. It's a shame. It's not a shame. It's great that they're there. It's a shame we don't know more about a couple of these athletes.
Sure.
Because,
Ethor as well, I haven't seen too much about.
No.
I'm not sure on his standard, but I know what Ervin Toots is like. I've seen bits of Bobby, and he is legitimate.
Bits of Bobby. Sounds sketchy. Sketchier than Group 5.
This is why I don't bring her in front of the camera. You guys, I know you want her in front of the camera, but there's a reason she's put behind. Anyway, I'm going to go JF Caron to win the group. Oh,
I have no clue.
Do you know what? Just because he's my man, I'm going to go for Hicksy. I think he's going to make the final somehow.
Do you think? And Graham Hicks, I love you, but I'd see JF Caron winning the group as well. And I think in a stone off, I don't think Graham wins.
Graham's good
and it
at
makes
stones.
Me sad.
He's good at stones. He is. And I think the fact that it's not about speed, it's about repetitions, helps him.
I'm going to choose Ervin Toots also because Ervin beat Graham at Europe's Strongest Man. So I have JF winning, Ervin Toots second.
Boo. Right, finally, group number 5. And as it stands, if this stays, this group is ridiculous. Like, ridiculous.
Don't even get me started on Group 5.
Right, Group 5, firstly, I'll quickly go through the guys, okay? There was a few changes. Wesley Claiborne had to pull out, replaced by Nick Best, and then they removed Ervin Toots from this group and replaced him with Oleksii Novikov, Oleksii Novikov over the last 2 years has been one of the absolute prime, premium athletes on the planet. Won a number of internationals. He's been quiet this year. He's been focused training. Very sadly lost his grandfather recently, and some people are saying that's going to affect him in a negative way.
Khabib lost his dad.
Yeah, and we saw what he did if you're MMA fans. This kid is dynamite. He's dangerous. I believe the fact that he's not competed this year has been really good for him. I think he burnt himself out last year.
Yeah.
I think with the right set of events as well, very, very dangerous man.
This group, it relies solely, I think, on the events, because if you've got a log, it swings in Luke's favour. If it's a dumbbell, it swings in Novikov's. If
And
you've got
Brian would prefer
Brian
a
as
dumbbell
well,
to a
of
log.
course.
So if this is a squat and log group, I believe Luke Stoltman could win the group.
I would agree, yeah.
If it's a deadlift and dumbbell,
Brian wins the group.
I think Brian wins the group.
Yeah.
And then
I think if Brian doesn't win the group, even if he qualifies, Brian doesn't win Worlds. Because if he ends up in a stone off between Oleksii Novikov or Luke Stoltman, any of them.
there's talk of removing the truck pull for a...
Bad for Terry.
But for a farmers for distance.
Good for Terry.
But more importantly, better for Nick in terms of the difference.
Yeah.
Terry is good at truck pull and Terry's good at farmers for distance. And I think Terry could beat Brian, Luke and Oleksii on a farmers for distance. But I believe Nick Best could beat them all as well. So it could make things a bit interesting. Whereas Nick Best, I don't expect him to beat the likes of the top guys on a truck pull.
No.
But on a farmer's walk for distance, Nick is unbelievably good. His grip is like iron. He's excellent at farmer's walk. Could be very, very interesting.
This group makes me sad because there's so many people in this group that I would love to see in the final. So to know it's only going to be 2 of them, it sucks. And I think, if you win the group in this group, brilliant. If you don't, whoever is in second place is going to be ruined because they're going to have to have worked so hard to qualify. I just think it really puts them at a disadvantage going into the final.
This is the only group that has 4 former World's Strongest Man finalists.
How many do the others
And
have?
the guy that hasn't made the final is Oleksii Novikov.
Yeah, and we know he didn't make it bad luck last year. And last year was his first year.
Yeah.
So, and he's on the rise. He's, he's not winding down. He's winding up.
This group for me is crazy. It's going to come down to events. It's going to come down to... we don't know still. There could be more changes. World's Strongest Man is an ever-changing process. This year, particularly more than... It always is. Every year, events are subject to change. Groups are subject to change. This year... worse than ever, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah, and they can be forgiven for a lot of it, obviously. There's certain things have been completely out of their hands, but I assume someone knew it was hurricane season in Florida in November. Yeah. So, you think they'd have a contingency plans?
We'll base these predictions on what we know so far. Oof. I'll probably change my mind 3 times before it kind of kicks off. But for this group... I've got to pick Luke Stoltman.
Winning the group?
This group all comes down to events. If Luke gets a log and a squat, I think he can win the group. Mm-hmm. If it's a dumbbell and a deadlift, I think Brian Shaw wins the group. And
who comes second and third for the last man standing?
Well, it's going to be. I think even with the change of events, I still feel the battle is between the top 3. Regardless, as good as Terry and Nick are, they're experienced athletes. They're both past their prime.
Yeah,
I think the top 3 guys are all World's Strongest Man finalists. They all deserve to be in the final. I think you've got Brian Shaw, who's obviously going to be hungry, going for his 5th World's Strongest Man title. But this is a tough group. Anyone that says that Brian doesn't deserve to win if he wins this group and then goes on to win,
this could throw such a spanner in the works. What if? We don't know with Brian still. We know what Brian's capable of. We know Brian's training looks great. But if we're just going on past performances over the last year or so, there's no guarantee of anything.
The other thing to be aware of with a group, only 5 guys... 1 mistake will cost you.
Oh, well, we know. We've lived it, haven't we? God.
1 mistake and, just on doing farmer's walk for distance in a hurricane.
For God's sake.
Your grip suddenly just kind of go like the wind that you're coping with.
Woo!
There's a bit, water on the handles.
Yeah.
There's no there's no
crazy.
guarantee. It's not like being in perfect conditions and right, this is a squat. You can either squat it or you can't.
It's not powerlifting, is it?
No,
Jesus.
there's so many factors. It's going to be interesting. It's a lot harder to predict than people think.
Go on, pick two.
I'm going to pick Brian and Luke. I've said
too.
them to get through. Obviously,
We agree on something.
we agreed on a few things.
Oh, okay.
So go
That's
us.
good. Yeah.
Right, guys, that's our predictions for this year's World's Strongest Man groups. Let us know who you think is going to get through. And, once we know the finalists, I mean, we don't know.
We still don't know what's going on. But
It is sad, I think, that there's been so many changes.
yeah.
I
feel bad for the guys who were just ready to go, or in some cases got there and now can't compete. I do feel bad for those guys. Yeah.
One thing's for sure, and regardless of what anyone says, this is still a great list of athletes. 25 of the top guys on the planet. Unfortunately, there's some guys missing, but you look at the list, there is not one weak name in there. Each group is tough. There's good guys in every single group, and it's going to be an exciting competition regardless.
I can't remember the last time it was this exciting. Because we genuinely don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed having Auntie Liz on today.
Auntie Liz. Calm down, Uncle Loz. Creepy Uncle Loz.
We'll be back with more strength action soon. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.